Okay, UFC 277, Nunes versus Pena 2. The rematch that shocked the world. The fight that everybody thought was going to go one way. Nunes was going to wipe Pena easy, and it didn't happen. Huge shock. And yeah, as a card, not the best, I'm not going to lie. I love the UFC, but they've been recently slacking a bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, they've had some good cards like over this past year, but this one isn't that great. If you actually look at the whole card as a whole, like just look at the main card, the co-main and main are the two ones that I'm going to focus on, and I think they're great fights. But then you got Derek Lewis versus Sergey Pavlovich, and this one I'm interested in, the Alexandra Pantoja versus Alex Perez, because that possibly, I mean, I know you're obviously going to have the winner of the co-main obviously be the interim champion fight and fight Figgy for the the actual title. But I am interested in Pantoja versus Perez, because you could say whoever wins out of Figgy versus those two will be the number one contender. So that's that fight. I'll be honest, I am interested in. But yeah, the whole card as a whole not great. Magomed Ankalaev against Anthony Smith again, nothing too much to it. Prelims, there's no fight really stands out, to be honest, that much. And the early prelims the same. There's nothing much that stands out and jumps out in this card. Hence the reason why it's going to be a short preview, because I just feel like the two fights, the co-main and main, are the only two that I think really grab my attention, to be honest. But I will watch the whole thing, obviously. Obviously Derek Lewis is in there and he's always exciting, and like I said, I think Pantoja and Paris is a good fight, but to me the main and the co-main are my main focus on what I will be focusing on here today. So starting off, as we were saying, with the co-main, with Brandon Moreno versus Kai Kara France for the interim flyweight belt. Obviously Moreno fought Figgy in this last fight. I thought Figueiredo did get the win. I mean, he did get the win, but I thought he did hit a decision as well. Some people thought Moreno might win, but I think Figgy did enough in that fight. I think he did very, very well at certain points and kept blasting with the leg kicks, kept the range. It was close, don't get me wrong, but I still feel like he did enough. But I think it's inevitable that we will see those two fight, regardless of what happens here for the fourth time. And with Kai Kara France, very exciting fighter. Obviously comes from City Kickboxing, so he's got the old reputation. And his last fight, I was really impressed being Askar Askarov, who I think is a real threat in this division. Also, obviously having the big one against Cody Garbrandt, which I thought he would win, because Cody ain't got a chin and going down in weight is never a good idea. So yeah, nothing really surprising. Kai Kara France showed some good takedown defense and some good wrestling actually against Askarov, which makes me interested in this one, because I do wonder how does he cope then stepping up against someone like Brandon Moreno, who's so good on the feet and is so good at mixing it up. And yeah, real interesting fight, this one. I obviously for Moreno lost his last fight against Figgy, but he's had a whole trilogy obviously with Figueiredo recently. But a very good fight. Moreno shown that what he's about, really. I didn't think that much would happen in that fight with Figueiredo, the first one, but he showed a lot, Moreno, and then obviously in the second fight showed even more by submitting him, and even in the third fight it was very close. So two great fighters, two exciting fighters, and I do like the flyweights. They are quite exciting to watch. Not many knockouts, but you do get the skill levels higher, and I think that's the one thing I always do appreciate about the lower weight classes. So looking at this fight, I think for Kai Kara France, I actually think Kai Kara France is the more heavy-handed out of the two of them. I think his timing's a bit better. He's very quick on the feet. They're all quite spry, but he just has a bit of a bang to it, and he does such a good job of closing the octagon off whenever he has his opponent hurt, or does a good job of circling as well, which doesn't really get hit clean that much. And for Brandon Moreno, he's very good. He has a very I don't know, recently he's very light on his feet, taking more of a karate type stance with a lot of his fights. And I do think one thing about Moreno is he always fights with a lot of energy. You never ever see him give up on himself or quit or not do enough. I think he always turns up to fight, and I think that's a small thing, but trust me, there's so many fighters who you kind of feel don't have the I don't know, just don't have the dog in them. And I think that is the one thing that I think I would say about Moreno. Obviously, this is also a rematch between the two of them, which I forgot to mention. And yeah, and in the rematch, I mean, in the first fight, even not the rematch, I think Moreno did such a great job. I think of sort of just stifling Kai France, just neutralised him pretty much. If, like I said, I think Kai France is the more powerful of the two, but Moreno presses forward. He's lets his hands go. He's very quick, and it was a close fight. But I think Moreno got a decision comfortably. But I do think with Moreno, he is a very he puts his chin out there, and I think he's there to be hit, and that's why you kind of saw he did get rocked a few times in that fight, and but I do think in this fight, I do think he's more mature now. They're both better now than what they were obviously back then. But yeah, I wonder about this fight. It's a hard one to pick. I think with how how much Moreno has improved and how much he did stifle Kai France in the first fight, it'd be the smart pick over a 5-round. But I do think Kai France has got a lot better. He isn't as wild as he was back when that first fight happened. And you know, one thing about Moreno, he always comes and has like a 5-a-night type fight, and I think because of that, he tends to be sometimes in wars a lot, and I don't think you can really have a war with Kai France because of how powerful he is. But Moreno, to his credit, has shown that he can stick it out, so maybe he could. Maybe if he can drag him in to the later rounds, maybe he could do something with Kai France. Maybe, I don't know, Kai France has never really shown any tendencies to tire in fights, but yeah, I think like I said, it's a close one, but on my prediction for the fight, it's a close. I just have a gut feeling that I think Kai France will get the KO in this one. I don't know what round, I'll be honest, but I just have a feeling that he'll catch Moreno, and I feel like this time, like I said, he did hurt Moreno a few times in the first fight, so I think he's definitely got it in him to finish him. I think Moreno takes, I'm not going to say what round, but I just think Moreno will get the KO. I feel like he will, Kai France will get the KO. I feel like he'll just catch Moreno coming in, and once he hurts him, I just feel like he'll be calculated, he'll be calm, he won't go crazy. He'll pick his next shot, floor him, and then I think he'll just get it done and finish him with the ground and pound. I think he's so powerful, and I would set up a great fight. Either way, it's a great fight with Figgy, but yeah, either way, whoever wins this is an interesting one. But I do think that Kai France does get this one done, and then we move on to the main event with Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena. Obviously, the rematch between the two of them. In the first fight, Pena got it done via rear naked choke in the second round. A big shock, probably one of the biggest shocks. A lot of people saying it's the biggest shock since maybe Matt Sarah beat GSP, or maybe a Diaz McGregor type shock. It was huge. Nobody really expected. Nobody gave Pena a chance other than Pena. She was talking a lot about how she wanted to fight her. She was talking about how everybody is against her and how everybody thinks she's going to get murdered, and she kind of was calling her out for a while. And when I say a while, I don't know, not just like a few months, almost like a few years to be fair. Really wanted that fight for a while, and I think Nunes is a great fighter, and she's to go of women's MMA, but there's so many weaknesses that she has. That's why I always feel Valentina Shevchenko is the better fighter out of the two of them, even though she lost twice to her. I just think that she has more to her game, more well-rounded, whereas Nunes is more powerful. But with Nunes, yeah, in the first fight, I think people say she didn't fight the way she normally does. She fights the same way every time. The only difference is she tried to take her head off in like the second round and kept swinging. Wasn't smart. If you try to force the KO, it never works. It has to come naturally, and I think by setting traps in there, that's how you get it. And she did it Nunes, and there was an offbeat sort of jab that Pena kept throwing that just kept snapping Nunes' head back, and eventually when she got her down, I mean, she didn't get it down. She had tried to get it down a few times in the first round, and there was some moments of difficulty. There was a few hard leg kicks that I think Nunes was landing, and this fight. I want to say that again. My head still tells me that Nunes will get it done, but I don't know. Pena did show that if you can just get Nunes tired, then that's the thing to do. And the problem that I think Pena's got is that she kind of had that element of surprise where she was going to take the fight to her, and that's what she did. She literally stood right in the middle and took it to her, and she does have a chip on her shoulder of how people think it's a fluke, and she wants to prove that it wasn't. But I don't know, it's a hard one. It really is. I do think that Nunes has got a tendency to tire if you can make her work. And she did do that, Pena, in the first fight. She really, if you can stick it to her and get her tired again. The problem is she made it a really obvious mistake, and I don't know if she'll make that mistake again. That being said, though, I don't know. There's just this is honestly it's hard in the sense of it will lightning strike twice, but again, Pena knew that she could beat it, and it wasn't like a delusional. It was she really had an inkling that she could do this to Nunes, and that's what gives. And she really has that feeling again. It feels like, doesn't feel like she's scared or that she's doesn't feel like she'll get it done. She feels it does look. I mean, they're all confident fighters, but she looks especially confident. She doesn't look like anything's really really affecting her, to be honest. So yeah, I don't know. I think Pena will get it done again, to be honest. I'm trying to visualize it in my head. I can see Pena just getting her down and then catching her in a triangle or rear naked choke again, and just if she can, she can just take it down for a few rounds and tire her out that way. That could work easy, well enough. She did it by striking last time, but I feel like this time, if she can mix it up well, she did get hit. Only thing I say about Nunes, she never really she caught her a few times, Pena, but she never really caught a flush. And Nunes hits very hard, but Pena, sometimes you got to walk through that fire, and Pena did a very good job of that. So that's why I do feel like she will get it done, because she's felt what Nunes has had. I don't think she actually felt the best on my Nunes, but I do feel she felt her power and didn't really get bothered by it in the kicks and the punches. It wasn't like Megan Anderson where she got hit and she just completely, like, you can see she was just terrified. That wasn't the case with Pena. She felt it and she wanted to keep going. So for that reason, yeah, I think Pena will take it again. And who knows, maybe that sets up a title fight with Valentina, a double champ thing with Valentina down the line. I'd like to see that fight. But yeah, it's a good one. I think Nunes, regardless, she's the GOAT. I mean, it'll take a lot for someone to beat that, but I think she's got a good chance. I think if Nunes wins, I wouldn't be surprised. It's same with the co-main, but they're two close fights. But I just think that Pena will just grind out. And I think the problem that Nunes also does have is, I know she says that she's better with the cardio, but having cardio issues isn't something that you can just overcome, like that. It's something that, it's something that you just don't go over. You just have to find a way to get around it. And Nunes did that. None of the fights really were fast paced. And the Pena fight was the first fight where somebody really stuck it on her and really made it work. And I think she'll do that again, but I think Pena will choose a different approach. And this time around, I think she'll mix in the wrestling more, and I think also making her work in the clinch. I think that's something that Nunes, she tends to duck her head a lot, and I feel like she's always open to strike. She's very sloppy at times, Nunes, and I think it wasn't that surprising to a lot of people that she lost, to be honest, because a lot of people have said this for a while. I never really thought Nunes was that great either, but I do think she would always do enough. But who knows, maybe also the motivation has gone from Nunes. She's been in the top for a long time. Maybe she's kind of losing that way a bit. So it'd be interesting if mentally she can get herself back in the state and see if she can get herself back in that champion state and go and maybe get the belt back. Who knows? But either way, that's just my prediction for the two big fights at UFC 277. Like I always do, I will do a review after the card. And yeah, until next time.